Van kindsbeen af, met raad en saam, met lyding en hoop, verdriet en saam staan jy staan. Jy is altyd daar. Dit wat ons doen, ons liefdes, ons vreugdes, ons plekke, ons thuistes, tot daar waar ons reis, jy is daar. Afrikaans is ons wese. Dis die taal waarin ons groet, die taal is in ons bloed, is Afrikaans, vir ons mense. En ek stuur vir jou 'n sy, met 'n boodskap daarby, en waar jy is, sal jy dit kry, in Afrikaans vir ons mense. Al verander straatname, al word helde laat val, ons is steeds deur ons adem, ons kultuur, ons verhaal, dit sal altyd bestaan. Afrikaans is ons wese. Dis die taal waarin ons groet, die taal is in ons bloed, is Afrikaans, vir ons mense. En ek stuur vir jou 'n sy, met 'n boodskap daarby, en waar jy is, sal jy dit kry, in Afrikaans vir ons mense. Ons is daarmee gebore, die taal waarvoor ons staan, dit vloei deur ons are, ons kinders praat het saam, dit sal altyd bestaan. Afrikaans is ons wese. Dis die taal waarin ons groet, die taal is in ons bloed, is Afrikaans, vir ons mense. En ek stuur vir jou 'n sy, met 'n boodskap daarby, en waar jy is. Dis die taal waarin ons groet, die taal is in ons bloed, is Afrikaans, vir ons mense. En ek stuur vir jou 'n sy, met 'n boodskap daarby, en waar jy is, sal jy dit kry, in Afrikaans vir ons mense. Afrikaans vir ons mense. Afrikaans vir my mense. Afrikaans vir ons mense.
I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming, it's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Hello, folks. Welcome back. It is Monday, September 9th, 2024. Herzlich willkommen und Glückwunsch. Servus. Bonjour. Ooh, what's with the beard? Looks kind of crooked there. Let's get over this way. There we go. Looked like my jaw was broken there. There. Got it fixed. Ooh, got a little rogue hair down here somewhere. Can't get him. I'm going to stay there. There we go. Wait, tap it down. There you go. A little beard grooming going on there. You know, I thought about getting a haircut again this morning. And guess what? Once again, it's a Monday. It seems like every time I think about it's time for a haircut, it's a Monday. And my barber doesn't work on Mondays. So I guess no haircut today, folks. So much for that idea. It was an idea. Hang on a second here. Let me double check on something very quickly. Okay, no, nothing. Just nonsense coming in. Hello to everybody out there. Let me say greetings to the viewers currently. Monterey Sieberts is in from Cape Town. Dylan Combrick in from the same general area. George Steinberg in from Heckport. George says he looked into the alleged racism incident at the at the property that I was talking about. He said, reference Hartbees Port, said it's a big lie from IOL. I spoke to a lawyer. There's nobody except IOL seems to know anything about any burning of property. Been in contact with South African Police Service, and they said the same. They have no knowledge of any fire or blackmailing of residents. Both sides of the lie. Okay, well, there you go. Interesting. Thank you for that. Next time I'm in Hartbees Port, I'll go and see if I can't find anything about it. See what's going on there. Find out where Bubbles is at or was at. All right. Thanks a lot, George. Appreciate the effort to research for us. Ants is back from Eastern Cape. Alan Kotza, not a fan of the introduction, but hey, that's just him. Lee Lowe, welcome to you. Allison Johnson, My 5 Pence, Val Cooper, Chris Ayler, Shawnee, Dylan Combrick, and Gregory Fouché. Welcome back to you, Gregory. He must be, no, she, my barber's a lady, Garrett. I don't have a man who cuts my hair. I have a lady cut my hair. Vilma Rasmus is here, and Greg says, still in Mozambique. Okay, all right. Well, I hope you're well in Mozambique. Be safe, Mozambique. Be safe over there. Not always the safest place to be. All right, folks. Boy, that hair just came back when I did that. That little rogue hair. Come on. There we go. How back in there. I had to trim that after the show. It's going to bother me. Well, Sir Ramaphosa says that China's never been a colonial power. These politicians, Sir Ramaphosa, have you ever heard of Tibet? Have you ever heard of Hong Kong? Yeah, not a colonial power. Wow, I just got cut off. My stream is twice now. What is going on here? Excellent connection. I have no data drop, and that's twice now that this has already happened in this broadcast that YouTube has stopped my broadcast. What is going on there? What is going on, YouTube? What are you so demonically possessed about? It's not like I have 5 million subscribers and 10,000 people watching my live stream influencing people. What is the problem? Why do you do that? If I had a bad internet connection, I get it, but I don't. Even YouTube is telling me excellent connection. Right here on the screen, it says green light, excellent connection, yet I have buffering going on. Yeah, it's not you guys. It's YouTube. It's not me either. Sometimes it is my connection, but it's YouTube for sure. Anyway, Chris Ehlers is back. He says he likes Afrikaans. Okay, and Greg says, good to see you. Good to see you, Greg. Well, I don't see you, but good to see you present in the chat. I also stick to weather reporting. Perhaps. Lee Lowe says, sorry about her German. What's wrong with your German? What did you say? Oh, Guten Tag, I think you were trying to say. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it was buffering. Yep. I don't know. I mentioned the Chi-Coms and everything went wonky from there. But Cyril Ramaphosa lied. He said that China's not a colonial power. That's not true. They're currently a colonial power. While the United States possesses no colonial territories and never really has, although some people make the argument that the Caribbean and the Philippines, we had colonial possessions, but that's simply untrue. Those places were given their freedom, granted their freedom as quickly as possible. We inherited them from the Spanish as a consequence of their war with us in 1898. But the real colonial powers came from Europe and from Asia. And China's one of them. Yes, Dylan says, don't talk about our Chinese overlords. That's what happens. Anyway, let's get to some of the news I'm going to talk about here today, folks. Having a hard time getting to that 19,000 subscribers. Starting to get bummed out about that. I'd like to get back to 20,000 as soon as possible. That does not seem to be in the offing anytime soon. Well, China, I have to go back to South Africa. Last time I got 3,000 subscribers because I was in South Africa. The trip went really well. Good Bar Benny says, Chris, I must say you are a star. I appreciate what you do, as nobody here in South Africa likes to shake, rattle, and roll anyone's cage, especially the wrongdoers. Well, I do it, Good Bar Benny, and I do it here as well. I try to hold people to their word, try to hold people to the truth. A lot of nasty people out there, a lot of people who do things for the wrong reasons. There's one intern whose whole career is just sabotaging your channel. She'll just sits around eating donuts or moving subscribers. Yeah, probably. Yeah, it could very well be the case. But anyway, but thank you so much, Good Bar Benny. I appreciate that. Those who see my content, those who listen to me, by and large, I'd say 75% or more. It's probably higher. 75% or more anecdotally seem to enjoy the content, appreciate the analysis. Although I must admit that lately I've had a little challenge remembering facts. Had to look a few facts up and things, and words are not coming to me. I hope that there's not something going on up here. I would love, shame to lose that brilliant mind, but had some changes, had some challenges of late, concerning. We'll see if that's just something going on. But anyway, yeah. So notice it started with Hollywood actors, probably because I haven't watched them for a long time. I had a hard time remembering names of some of these Hollywood celebrities. I couldn't remember Adam Levine's name the other day. Just wasn't there on the tip of my tongue from Maroon 5. I had to think about that when someone gave me the name. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there. Maybe it's just my disinterest in Hollywood and certain politicians. The other day, I couldn't think of Zandi Gumeda, and now it just came to me like that. Chris, it's never happened to me. It's never happened to me. I've always had to be incredibly sharp as attack. I had to have the facts, the information, the analysis, the correct history of everything instantaneously to answer the questions of ambassadors, of generals, of admirals, of politicians, of presidents on the spot all the time. Lives dependent on my ability to think quickly, analyze quickly. And it's a little disconcerting for me to be just kind of normal, I guess. I guess I'm just normal and not exceptional. Yeah, I guess I'm no longer exceptional. Sadly, I didn't get to 5 million subscribers when I was exceptional. Now that I'm on the downside of history, apparently, we'll see what happens. But anyway, just teasing, folks. The Han Chinese were one of the most brutal and largest colonizers in history. You were correct, Yvette Martin, and that's a long time ago. However, they're currently colonial power. They're illegally occupying Tibet. They seek to occupy and control Formosa, the Kuomintang's government in Taiwan. They are colonial powers currently. Chemical composition of steel anymore. That's because you're not using it all the time, Chris. And I think that's part of it. Some of this stuff I just haven't used all the time anymore. It's a little crazy. But thank you so much, Good Bar Benny, for that comment. And thanks. And look, excuse me. Look, I'm not soliciting compliments or applause or anything like that. But when I do this every damn day, I mean, there's no fame involved. And I'm not seeking fame. I'm seeking to influence people for right. And it at times gets a little frustrating that the audience isn't as large as it ought to be, all things being equal. I mean, people put stupid content just do amazing. It kills me. Maybe I need to put stupid pet trick videos up here. But the point I'm trying to make is that when you guys do compliment me and you have nice things to say about my analysis and the comments you post in the videos, the comments you put in chat, it is I don't want to say refreshing. It's not refreshing, but it's reinforcing why it's important to do this sort of thing. The video is buffering for light rain. Let me see if I'm buffering again. Hang on. No, it was buffering earlier. There's something going on with YouTube and my connection today. Anyway, yeah, so I was going to get to this. Cyril Ramaphosa claims that China is not a colonial power. That's utter nonsense. Now, let me just get to that story. Well, thank you, Chris. Complimenting excellence. Yeah, the other thing, too, is that I sometimes sanction some of my viewers. It's rare, but it happens. And those people still come back because they know I treat people fairly. Right. This is why we keep records. Exactly. You have to keep the receipts. Show me the receipts. China has never been a colonial power. That word never, Cyril Ramaphosa, means nie, nix, nein, in a Bahnhof. Nie, niet, never. It means it never happened. No, that's simply fiction. What he meant and what he'll parse his words if someone like a real journalist actually calls out. Here's a real journalist, Cyril Ramaphosa. Excuse me, Mr. President, you recently said that China's never been a colonial power. What about the fact that the Han Chinese were brutal colonizers? They invaded Mongolia, they invaded Korea, they conquered that, they invaded Vietnam and conquered Vietnam. What about China's contemporary colonialism in conquering and occupying illegally Tibet? Can you tell us about how the word never applies? But there'll be no journalists in South Africa do that because there are very few journalists there, very few real ones left anyway, and none willing to compromise their gravy train of employment. China has never been a colonial power. Ramaphosa hits out at critics of China's rising footprint across Africa. It's currently a colonial power in Africa. Neocolonialism is taking place by the mercantile estate of the Chinese Communist Party in Africa. Farewell to South African and international journalists in Beijing. At a press conference late on Thursday, Ramaphosa fielded questions on the negative errors and disinformation campaigns around China's investments and assistance on the content. Now, the fact that the IOL writes this as fact in a news story, that Ramaphosa fielded questions on the negative narratives and disinformation campaigns around China's investments. What disinformation campaigns? Will the IOL tell us what they are? Or would the IOL correctly following normal journalistic standards say around the negative narratives and alleged disinformation campaigns? You have no evidence of a disinformation campaign. Show us which one. The disinformation campaign is the IOL. Anyway, so he said, our experience is that China seeks to promote mutually beneficial relationship with countries that it interacts with and engages with on the continent. It's not been my experience in Africa. My experience in Africa is the Chinese sending substandard, inferior quality goods and dumping them in Africa because they were inexpensive and Africans could afford their poorly manufactured products. That's been my experience in Africa. My experience in Africa also is the Chinese will snatch up all the contracts and grift from them in Africa. I built an HIV counseling and testing center in Francistown, Botswana. It was the largest project we did for the HIV program at over $500,000 to build this center. We let the contract and the bids came in, and this was during the World Cup building frenzy of the stadiums in South Africa. So all of the good quality Botswana-based construction firms weren't building anything in Botswana. They had gone for contracts as prime or subs in South Africa to build these white elephant stadiums for the World Cup. So the only companies that were operating in Botswana were largely Chinese, and the Chinese won the bid. And then it took them months and months and months and months overrunning on the contract. I went to the site when I arrived in country. The first week I was there, I went up to Francistown to inspect what we were paying for. It was nearly finished, but it was way behind schedule. And on the site, I found Zimbabweans who didn't speak English. They only spoke Shona. I found, finally, after 40 minutes of looking for the supervisor, it was a big building, it wasn't that big. He was not on site. One Chinese national who spoke no Setswana, he spoke no English, he spoke no Afrikaans. And this is what we deal with. That's my experience with China and Africa. Now, China has done some good things for Africans. They buy their raw materials, which is good for Africans, but they get themselves cushy deals like exclusive, tax-free business zones in South Africa and other places in which, and they also employ no Africans by and large in most places. They bring all of their released convicts from China to work these projects. I was in Liberia watching the Chinese World Bank Finance road reconstruction project in Monrovia, which they took them months and months behind schedule. They got all the money from it. There were probably, of the hundreds of people working the project, half a dozen Liberians I saw employed. The rest were all Chinese. They came, they occupied, they drove up rents because they occupied places and other people couldn't afford. They ate only in Chinese restaurants. There's only a handful of them there. They made all their money and they took it all back to China. They fixed the roads and they only put down this much coal tar. And within 3 months, the potholes were back and the roads were crap again. Very poor done. That's my experience with China and Africa. It is economic colonization. You're correct. Yep. Europe screwed Africa. China will screw Africa. Africa screws Africa. You're right. That's right. That's correct. They're journal-mimist, not journalist. Oh, that's good, Chris. Okay. Cyril's an actor like all politicians. I mean, they pretend to not know what's going on, right? Well, I don't think he really does know what's going on. I think he's that dumb. Anyway, he says, don't subscribe and believe that it's a relationship that's oppressive, that is neo-colonial, but it should be seen as a mutually beneficial relationship that's based on recognition, respect, and also advancing each country's own development. China is much more focused on development of countries on our continent. Really? I think it's supposed to be on the African continent. You must remember that China has never been a colonial power, particularly on the African continent. From time immemorial, when Cheng Ho traveled to Africa, it was around 1434 or so, to advance relations with the African continent, I told President Xi Jinping that I see China that he is leading, moving in the same direction as Emperor Zhu, who opened up China at the time and wanted to have a mutually beneficial relationship with the world. Oh, gosh. If you really think that the castrated eunuch Cheng Ho sailed to the coast of Africa to build mutually beneficial relationships with African kingdoms, then Cyril Ramaphosa, you are deuce of the highest order. Cheng Ho's mission was not to make friends. It was to find advantage for the Chinese emperor. That's what it was all about, to exploit others for the Chinese emperor's advantage. And Cheng Ho was recalled because of internal chaos, and that is the only reason why China never had colonies in Africa. The only reason. The only reason. But China does have colonies today. One of them is called Tibet, and its genuine, legitimate ruler is the Dalai Lama. Ooh, now we'll probably buffer again. Now, lady said, I would trust Putin before Xi Jinping. Well, yeah, I can see where that would be the case. Well, ladies and gentlemen, remember the brutal assassination of a young man who had nothing to do with anything? It was a hit to get a whistleblower. Whistleblower murder. The Vereniging engineer slain after a report of 4,500 Transnet contract price inflation. Armand Swat, a low-level employee of the Vereniging Engineering Company, was killed in a hit after the alleged triggerman mistook him for a colleague. News 24 has continued their investigation of this story. They've established the attack was set in motion by a whistleblower report lodged by the company 2 weeks prior to this murder. Detectives probing the alleged hit squad, among them a veteran police detective, have faced death threats and have not been assigned protection. The murder of Veinigung Engineering Company employee Armand Swart came 2 weeks after the firm blew the whistle on a mammoth Transnet tender price inflation that saw the cost of a single contract gouged by more than 4,500%. Armand Swart, the father of two, was shot 23 times in a deadly case of mistaken identity. And let me talk about who the criminals are that murdered him and show you why you have things to worry about in South Africa. News 24 reveals that 2 weeks prior to Swart's murder, the Vaal-based engineering company discovered an innocuous railway component, a simple spring no larger than your finger, that they produced and sold. The company produced it and sold it for R3.20, R3.20, just a few cents, had been sold to Transnet with a price tag of 152 Rand per spring. 3.2 Rand sold for 152. 149 Rand more than the cost of it. The state-owned freight and logistics company buying a consignment of 8,000 of those springs. What should have cost 25,000 Rand was in fact billed at 1.2 million Rand. And this is why South Africa is in the crapper. After reporting the 4,650% gouging price surge, one of the company's managers was marked for death, with an unknown paymaster placing a 1 million Rand bounty on his head. According to the News 24 report, a bounty was placed on the man for reporting this crap. Now, and I guess they thought more gravy was coming their way if they eliminate this guy. So they put a 1 million Rand contract out, a hit. After alleged triggerman, Telejo Floyd Mabuslela, Masu Kakani, and 30-year veteran Johannesburg police detective Michael Puletau, 30-year Johannesburg police detective Michael Puletau were arrested on the day that Armand Swart was brutally murdered. They now face charges of murder, conspiracy, and others related to an arsenal of illegal weapons found in their possession. If the state's case proves to be true, Tau was the nexus of a prolific hit squad that was paid $1 million to eliminate the engineering company's manager after dubious pricing irregularities were formally reported. Wow. Wow. The investigation has proven that all three accused are involved in a serious organized crime syndicate, of which almost R1 million was offered for this assassination. As a detective, Tao would have unfettered access to police profiling tools containing all aspects of personal information as well as police internal case. So 30-year Johannesburg police detective Michael Paul Tao. Was it Paul Tao? I'll get that right. Michael Puletau, Michael Puletau, 30-year police detective, is such a moron, so incompetent. I guess white people all look the same. So they murdered a 23-year-old innocent father of two. Nothing to do with the tenders. Didn't report anything. They murdered him because he's such an idiot. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Is it buffering again? Let me do a quick check and make sure it's not my connection. Xfinity speed test real quick. Okay, let me check out my internet speed and see if I'm good. Okay. Yeah. Accept your cookies. All right, here we go. 950, 876, 941, 944, 944, 944. That's more consistent, 945. All right, so that's consistent. That's the download speed. I'll give you the upload speed, which is what matters to you guys, not the download speed. What matters to you? Trump calls for 100% tariff on countries that leave the dollar and are not doing business in the United States. Okay, that doesn't make any sense. 19.8, 20 megabytes per second, so I'm good there. 100% tariff on countries that leave the dollar. What do you mean leave the dollar? The only countries in the world that rely on the dollar are Liberia and the United States officially, and I think one other country. Yeah, so no one's leaving the dollar. I don't understand that comment. Buffering. Yeah, look, if it's buffering, folks, just pause it. Just pause the video for 30 seconds. And then hit the play, and you should overcome the buffering, okay? Or if it still continues, pause it for a minute, wait, and come back. You won't be real time in the chat, but you'll be close enough, okay? It's because I'm talking about China. Want to guarantee that after this, I won't even use the T word, and not transgender, but the other one with T with an and ism. I won't use that word, and there'll still be limited advertising on it. You watch. Did we ever free Tibet? I wonder if Timmy Waltz was an outspoken critic. No, he wasn't. Timmy Waltz doesn't care about the Tibetans. Nope. Yeah, NSA, quit messing with the stream. All right, no buffering. Reload, now speech isn't broken. There you go. That's what you need to do, folks. You need to do it. Sorry, either reload or pause it. That's it. South Africa has about the same number of yearly murders as the U.S. No, actually, no, crab toes. South Africa has over 24,000 murders. The U.S. has about 16,000. We have 6 times South Africa's population. But one murder is too much. Trump is a businessman. I'm curious how he'll deal with Mark Rutte, the face of NATO. Yeah, he's a leftist apparatchik. Buffering is often caused by overburdened CPU, usually caused by too many apps running in the background. Not the case, buddy. Not the case. Let me take a look at my CPU and see what the current usage is. Current usage of my CPU, 20% of my 16%, 14%, 11%, 12%. Now, not using it. My browser's only using 2.9%. Not RAM, less than half my RAM is used. Hard drive, 4%. My graphics processor's at 26%. That's a little bit higher, but not bad. Warsmith telling people to close the app on your device, restart the app, rejoin stream. This works for me on my mobile. Okay, there you go. That's good advice. Pablo Charlie. I thought I'd get a response out of you. That's funny. Well, you keep putting chats over there trying to push politics. I thought I'd have a little fun with you, my Pablo Charlie. That was fun. All right, so yeah, that kid was murdered. 23 times he was shot in a case of mistaken identity when they wanted to take out the whistleblower. Unbelievable. Craig Fisher says you need to shave, cut your hair, wear a nice open neck shirt, flip-flops, change your background like you have on some of your shorter vids. Do news first, chat after. That's actually not true, Craig. Actually not true, Craig. The only part of that story I haven't done is flip-flops and no beard. I've had a much shorter beard. My beard was here when I started. It was almost nothing. My hair was long. I cut it short, which it normally is. And do the news first. I did that. The formats, I've tried every format in the world. You have to understand I'm being shadow banned. I'm intentionally being suppressed. And a perfect example of that is even on my rugby channel this past weekend, 11,000 views on the Springboks game. And it wasn't just me. It's also happening to the Kiwi Lads and to Forever Rugby. Their numbers were greatly suppressed in that case because YouTube is promoting fraudulent broadcasts, which is funny. YouTube says they go after people for copyright claim and copyright strikes, but they only harass genuine content creators who are using fair usage of material. They leave the sites that come up, the fake sites that have, they buy 300 subscribers from someplace in India. They fake accounts. They say they have 300 subscribers. They broadcast a game. They show the broadcast that's going over, that's stealing the copyright material. They show it for half or a whole game. In the meantime, they've got adverts running, and YouTube is making tons of money off of it, and they do nothing to them. But the reason I mention that is that when I load that up on the Springboks game, I get presented for you on my start page half a dozen of these fake channels with over 30,000 viewers. That's about 15,000 viewers that would have come to me and Forever Sports and the Kiwi Lads for that game. On this channel, it doesn't matter what I do, Craig. Thank you for the advice. You're right. I don't know how long you've been around, but if you notice, the beard used to be my navel, and it's working its way up. As I said, I thought about getting a haircut today. But anyway, that doesn't do it. I've done this where I used to only do the news, and I ask people to start commenting in the chat, and I say, please don't, and my mods say, please don't ask questions, Chris. He's going to go through the news and get the news done. I've done the news exclusively. I've done the news in a 30-minute format. I've done it in a 45-minute format. I've done the news exclusively South Africa and the U.S. I've done the news exclusively South Africa. I've done the news exclusively U.S. I've done the news all over the world. It doesn't matter when your channel is intentionally harmed. And for instance, I have, YouTube cheats me out of money every month, and I'm sure they do it to thousands of other content creators. I have over 100 subscribers at the $2.99 a month rate. That's $300 a month before they take their 30% cut. So it should be $200 a month generated revenue just from those memberships. But I don't get that. I get less than $100 from those memberships. I get about $70 from what should be $300 revenue. So anyway, go to bar, watch rugby there, come back and redo your what's that? Redo your live. I don't understand, Craig. What are you saying? Oh, I'm glad you like rugby sim. But no, Craig, look, I'm not discounting what you're saying. I've listened to people. I adjust things. What has happened is that there are serious spikes in my viewership and my growth of my channel when I go to South Africa and I'm using my mobile to broadcast, or I'm broadcasting. I have my laptop, but I don't really use it much when I broadcast, mostly my mobile. On my mobile, I switch from Vodacom to MTN back and forth all the time, and Wi-Fi. I switch to Wi-Fi. And while my IP address is changing all the time, and I'm in South Africa, YouTube censorship, even though it's the same account, for some reason, a South African YouTube must be monitoring it, and they don't catch on initially. Last trip was my best trip to South Africa so far as subscribers and audiences. Huge spike in viewership when I'm in South Africa, because what's happening is that YouTube is not promoting my content because it has a South Africa focus, although it's global. I report on everything, especially the U.S., but South Africa is what I lead with. So they don't promote the content in South Africa. They unsubscribe people all the time, but it's not exclusive to me. But what is exclusive to me and the people who are on their list of naughty people who are lucid, cogent, thoughtful, insightful, people who have a track record in history and are a real threat to the political left, then what they do to those folks is we're put in a corner and you don't see us promoted. So if I went right now, logged into my account, let me go to see YouTube. It should show me my channel, right? Okay, I'm going to do that real quick. So here we go. So this is, we're going to click on YouTube, okay? Let's see where it takes us. And there should be something, let's see if my channel shows up. Okay, all right, so there's the Overton window, okay? There's Retardistan, that's my next video, that's premiering. And Joe Emilio's on there, Morning Shots on there, Babylon B, Megaphone Rugby, I'm subscribed to that. Okay, but you don't see any of my videos sponsored here. Nothing. Not one of my videos. Everybody and their brother. Everybody and their brother. But you don't see my video anywhere, do you? People I've never heard of. Quirky Living, never heard of it. Jasmine and James. Juanita Duplessis, yeah, I follow that. Look at that. Now, the question is, does my video show up for you on if you're subscribed to my channel, how often when you open that page on YouTube do you see my content presented? Anybody? Some people get it all the time. It's weird because some South Africans get my content all the time without reservation. Craig says, watching for 4 years, I'm a believer. Missed you at the Reformation Society twice, unfortunately. See you soon. Well, I'll be back at the Reformation Society, Craig. I've actually been there 4 times. I'll be back. They're very generous, wonderful folks to meet with, and I really enjoy that format. But I'll be back. If I'm lying, I'm dying, says Pablo. What are you talking about? Mark Ruda still? What did Lee? Lee took things so personal. What did Lee take personal? YouTuber Paul Harrell disappeared off my suggestion since I subscribed 3 years ago. The video miraculously appeared the day it was posted. Yep. What's going on with Lee? What did you take personally? What am I missing over here? Just buy a White Dudes for Harris shirt. That's what I should do. The place I pick up my steamed crabs, there's a guy who's very much conservative, and he's always giving me a hard time because he knows I'm conservative. He's like, hey, look, here's that guy that votes for Harris, his White Dude for Harris, the Joe Biden fan. So maybe I should get one of those shirts. Multi-stream, multiple platform, says Arctic. Yeah, we've talked about that. Yeah. Devet says, I've been unsubscribed from this channel twice in a time of deceit. Telling the truth is a revolutionary act. You're right. That's why my banner says truth is a counter-revolution. That's what it is on my banner, folks. Truth is, in fact, the counter-revolution. Let me find that video, or that screenshot. There you go. So this is why I do the Chris Wyatt Reports for the banner for this. Oops, that's not it. Oops, sorry, got a little ahead of myself there. Come on, back here. Where are you at? Where are you at? Where's the screen? Come on. Oh, my goodness. Where the heck is my screen at? Okay, it's disappeared. Oh, there it is. There we go. All right, so truth is the counter-revolution. News analysis of global events that the legacy media get wrong. Yep. No, but listen, Craig, look, I'm not trying to poo-poo. Thank you, everybody. I do take suggestions. I listen to what people say. I've done many changes to my program. Some work, some don't work. Some are temporary. Very few are permanent. But thank you. The only thing I haven't tried is one of Hendo's supermodels in a bikini. Well, there you go. By the way, Leovin, they're out of work now because all that Victoria's Secret puts on is hideous, unattractive, unhealthy people who revel in obesity models. And the same as Sports Illustrated. They're doing the same thing in a swimsuit model. Yep. Erica says, it's always first for our good. It's good to see. People need to subscribe WhatsApp groups. Yep. And My 5 Pence gets all of them. And it appears in suggestions. That's great. Remove my reminders. Yeah, Chris Ehlers doesn't get reminders. If you are the second video at the top, about an hour before you go live. But if I do search, they're a bit behind. Yeah, there you go. Okay, well, thanks, Richard. Thank you for sharing that. Open and close algorithm taps at will. If you classify your content as educational, you can shave your private parts. Exactly. Oh, I know. I saw that. I saw that video a couple years ago, that one where this hideous-looking woman shaved her vagina, her private parts, and she put on video. I think got hundreds of thousands of views. And then Maya had a video removed for adult, for child safety policy violation. There was no child safety policy violation. Vilma gets notified and emails when Chris. You get emails? They stopped sending emails. That seems odd. Subscribe, but your videos very rarely show up in my feed, says Low IQ. This is one of the few times. There you go. See? There you go. That's how they moderate and control how many people turn up. Look, it's not woe is me. I'm not the only person. Also, I'm not aggrieved. It's just a little frustrating. And it's a little frustrating. And I see people with no talent and no knowledge and no accomplishments just go big. And that's fine. That's fine. The goal for me is not to be huge. The goal is to be effective. And it's not effective if you're not being introduced to new people. That's the problem. So that's one of the stats I always look at on YouTube about, new viewers. Let me take a look at that just real quick. We'll get back to the news in a moment. Hang on, folks. So let me get back to my audience, okay? So on August 26th, I had 7,582 views. Those are returning viewers. 855 new viewers. That means YouTube is not promoting my videos. 855. That means that a little over 10% of the people who showed up on the channel were people who were newly introduced to it. That's insane. And I can go as low as on August 22nd, just 189 new viewers. That's suppression. You should get about 40 to 50% new viewers or unsubscribed, not subscribed viewers. On September 1st, 3,009 viewers, 442 new viewers. When I get 442 new viewers, my chances of getting new subscribers is almost nil. That's one of the things I've always talked about. So here's this one's over the last month. It's been 60% subscribers, 40% not subscribed. That's okay. That means I've had a few days where I've had, but it needs to be 40 to 50%. It used to be 80%. It used to be 80 to 90% only subscribed and then 10% new. With that, it's impossible to get subscribers. People never find you. Yeah, Bohoti Prinsloo, born in Grootfontein, was Adam Levine's squeeze. She is. And she is the best friend of Giselle. Yep. I get email. I don't get email. Wow, that's crazy. And a first alliance. So that's good. You guys see it. And Pablo says, I don't appreciate the supporters. What in the world are you talking about? Chris, hey, Stephanie. Stephanie, Hudson Michael's back. Hey, always a pleasure. All the good people waiting for summer rain. Well, I'm waiting for fall. A nice Thai lady dancing behind you. Hey, G.I. G.I., come here, G.I. Dylan says, don't fat shame. I'm not fat shaming. Mike is here. I missed that. When I open YouTube, it goes to your channel. Wow, that's pretty cool. Okay, so all right, that's enough of that. Let's move on. Ben Labaskakny, Big Daddy is another connotation completely. Big EV. Listen, Big Daddy Liberty is big. That is not a misnomer. The dude is huge. If you ever sat next to Big Daddy Liberty, Sile is a big fellow, man. He really is. I like it by stealth, unseen by most. You're popular, so they recognize every turn. They'll never know what hits them when your influence strikes home. Keith, you have a fair point there, and it's true. Everywhere I go in South Africa, that's why there's a couple demented crap weasels that are trying to undermine me. I really think I've cut my beard uneven here. Really need to work on that. Anyway, so no, I think you're right about that. I see every time I come in here. Loved your South Africa election. Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate that. Thanks for chatting here. Churchill said, if you get enemies, you're doing something right. The new age workers scared of being told the truth. Big Daddy. Yes, sir. Listen, yeah, no, there's a phrase in the military we say, if you're taking flak, it must mean you're over the target. I mean, they don't fire flak at aircraft that are 1,000 miles away. Yeah, my beard is a celebrity. Well, I'll lose my celebrity status then, my minor celebrity status when I shave it off. Anyway, did a recording this morning for Retardistan with Byron. We talked about the concept of left and right politically. So hope you guys enjoy that. Lilo says, love you people. Have a great day. Lee, where are you going? You're disappearing. Don't charge me for 2 seats. What's this? I've noticed that on your Rugby Senate channel, the more we chat, the more viewers show up. Yes, that does happen. That's what's supposed to happen. Right now, we have a good chat rate of 6, and we're over 100. We had a low chat rate to start, and it built up. The chat rate, the more people chat, the more people like, the more people push those hearts. YouTube's algorithm does pick up on them. That's true. Even with the shadow banning that's going on, it does seem to work. Yep. So, yeah. How is the atmosphere in your area regarding anticipation? Not much, Lynette. It's a fair question. I mean, almost nobody's talking about it. I, for the first time, saw some campaign posters put up. We had the primary in April. I ran for office and lost. I was one of 5 candidates. The guy who won the race, the rhino, I'll call him a rhino. He's not really a rhino, but the guy, he's a chameleon. He's whatever he needs to be. I think he has no real principles. He also has no substance. He just, gets up and spews because he's a high school teacher. Oh, the Boston Tea Party, Good Lord. Or starts talking about his faith. I think politics is the wrong place to talk about your faith. Anyway, so I finally saw some campaign posters from him that were put up the other day. I think that he put them on private property, which is allowed, but is really close to public property. So you better be careful. You can only put those up 30 days before an election. Anyway, it's not much. People aren't really saying or doing much. We'll see after the debate tomorrow night what happens. I plan on covering that debate. It should be entertaining. Kamala Harris, if she wants to be president, has to perform tomorrow to hoodwink people into thinking she has a brain. It's interesting. We already see the lies coming, and I found that in the news. ABC News carries a story about Kamala Harris and the debate tomorrow night, and her campaign is complaining and whining, saying that, well, Donald Trump, it's going to advantage him because the microphone is turned off. Well, in fact, Donald Trump wants the microphone turned on at all time, but he agreed to go by the rules that were agreed to in the first debate. Biden insisted that the microphone be turned off when the person is not speaking. So when I start talking, when I finish my 2 minutes, if I'm talking, this is what happens to the microphone. So you couldn't hear what I was saying. The microphone is off. That is what Joe Biden insisted on for the first debate, and Donald Trump agreed to it. He didn't like it. So for this debate, he wanted the mic open. Now the Kamala Harris campaign is lying and claiming that it's an advantage to Trump because Trump wanted the mic turned off when people weren't speaking. That is not true. That is not true. That's what the Democrats wanted. That's what they got. Now she's just trying to make a controversy beforehand. Now she's also claiming that, well, we may not even have a debate. Trump will just not show up. Where is this coming from? Donald Trump agreed to debate ages ago. It was the Harris campaign that not until 5 days before the debate agreed to the terms and agreed to make an appearance. It is the Harris campaign who's threatened to pull out of this debate, not Donald Trump. It is the Harris campaign that it fails to agree to another debate after this. Yeah, they're just full of crap. Absolutely full of crap. Devet Martins wants to know how I get my beard to match my wig so well. Well, very simple. Neither is fake. They're both me. They're both me. Yeah, exactly, Dylan. They match from birth. They used to be blonde, strawberry blonde, then then chestnut, then darker. So I'll do like I do on the other channel. Go, Chris. Yeah, Kamala's history, says Garrett, before it even happens. All right, America needs to unburden what has been. 3 weeks ago, you had 50,000 views. Bucks versus Australia. Yeah, Craig, I know exactly. Well, I'm telling you, in that case, what's happening, and so that video, there were none of these fake channels that showed up when they were in Perth. For some reason, they weren't being promoted by YouTube. Then after the Perth game, the first game against the All Blacks, all these channels, and you've seen them, and they show the game. One of them showed the game, but they put an overlay over top of it, like that was going to protect them. And they were able to keep it going. So people who can't watch the game, who are desperate to watch the game, go to these channels. And I don't blame them. I don't blame people for doing that. That's your prerogative if you want to do that. But YouTube is supposed to stop them. I mean, remember when I did the Note for Note 3 years ago? We had a Note for Note evening one night. We were having a lot of fun with it. A bunch of people were here, like 100 plus people. And I'm named that tune in South Africa, Note for Note. But I was playing Name That Tune. And people were getting, I think somebody was cheating. They were using software. But anyway, I got disconnected. I got a copyright strike. Boom, just taken down for playing 4 seconds of a song. I got bogus copyright strikes from World Rugby. They claim to be World Rugby. I don't think they really were. Last year when I was in France on my Rugby Ascendant channel. 3 strikes. I only have the channel because the first 2 came in quick succession for content that I made. No music, no television commentators, no imagery from anyone but me and my mobile phone. I made the content, I recorded it, and I posted it with my commentary and got out. Copyright strike twice for the Namibia game. Unbelievable, folks. Unbelievable. And then I got another strike, and I would have lost my channel a week later if I hadn't refuted the first 2 strikes. So I refuted the first one, got it in there, got the strike taken off, refuted the second one, got the strike taken off, and then the third one, they never did take the strike off. But that was one where they claimed I had a copyright violation, which is not even the right term. If anything, it would have been a trademark violation because I used the World Rugby emblem on a video. But it's fair use. I was promoting the game and describing it. It wasn't the majority. So that was a trademark violation, not a copyright. And YouTube gave me a strike. So that's what happens to me. Meanwhile, these other channels, fake channels that buy subscribers from somebody in Bangladesh for a couple dollars, they try to do that to me when I started my original channel. Hey, we can get you tens of thousands of subscribers. Yeah, I don't want fake subscribers. I want actual people. I don't want fake accounts. I don't do fake things. So they do that. So you come up, you look at it, and the channel has 300 subscribers, and they're playing the game. And sometimes they take them down quickly. But in the All Blacks games, that's why. If you go back and look at the Kiwi lads and look at Forever Sports. That's 2 of the other channels that do that. Look at how many views they had the week that the Springboks were in Perth, and look at how many views they had in Ellis Park and then this week in Cape Town. You will see that their numbers also dramatically down because YouTube made money off of these fake channels, and then they took them down. Yep. Note for note. Yeah, no. Okay, Kamala, it really don't make sense to me. Yeah, I'm with you, Stephanie. How can a communist be chairman of a public investment corporation? I'm getting pretty... Yeah, well, I'm with you on that one, Pablo Charlie. Yep. All right, so was a Lekker live stream. Algerian, Namibian, and Botswana elections. Yes, Algerian elections were this past weekend. Namibian elections are coming up in November, I think, and Botswana's on 30 October. Yes, Kamala is an airhead. Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I just have to tell you that it's very difficult for someone who looks like me to get a loan in South Africa. It's difficult for me to get a loan in South Africa. As a historically advantaged person, I can't get loans because they're reserved for historically disadvantaged people. And I think it's patently unfair. Well, that's the excuse of the justice minister. She can't get a loan because she's black. It's difficult for a person who looks like me to get a loan. Why? Because you're scary looking? Similani on why she took a loan from the VBS advisor. I should have looked into them and their registration. Justice and Constitutional Development Minister Tembi Similani believes she did not have a choice but to take a loan from Gundo Wealth Solutions, which is implicated in the VBS mutual bank scandal, to start a business back in 2016, which would benefit her family. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just tell you up front, if you are borrowing money from something called Gundo, I think that you already got a problem. You got a problem. She said she could not get a loan from other banks due to high interest rates and no choice but to take a loan from Gundo. It was also difficult to obtain a loan as a black person. Oh, God. Oh, gosh. Country run by black people. Laws made by black people. Banks run by black people. Corporations run by black people. And she can't get a loan as a black person. Yeah. She said she should have done more research before obtaining a loan from a financial advisor. I'm not sure if I would have done things differently. I would have looked into them and their registration, but they were registered with the Financial Services Board, which I thought was sufficient to prove that they are in the finance business, like any other due diligence in getting a loan. I should have thought better than I did. Well, so we blame it on racism. We blame it on race. Okay, so that's the first racism story. Here's the second one, mathematical hooliganism. Now, the other day, it was just apartheid, people pining for apartheid. Anyone who speaks out against the National Health Insurance Initiative is an apartheid apologist, is a racist. That's what this guy said. Yeah, Motsalady. Yeah, Aaron Motsalady claimed you were a racist last week and an apartheid supporter if you were against national health insurance scam. Well, now he's calling it mathematical hooliganism, accusing the private sector of claiming outrageous sums. Well, folks, it is a communist takeover of the private sector, and he's trying to smoke and mirror and distract you. Yep. Health Minister Aaron Motsoaledi has accused some private sector players of mathematical hooliganism by inflating the cost of the state's controversial national health insurance to scare people away from believing in the plan. Let me tell you something, Aaron Motsoaledi. People will be scared away from the plan when they realize that your plan will destroy South Africa. Your plan is not a plan. It's a government takeover of the private sector, and you determine who gets to see doctors. You determine who gets care. We've already seen what the state has done with care. To make it illegal for the private sector to provide medical care is a human right violation. You are claiming national health insurance will ensure human rights, when in fact you are denying human rights to those who pay for their care. And oh, by the way, most of the people that have private health care and private insurance are black. They're black middle-class South Africans and members of parliament and the corporate elites and the media elites. They're the ones that have health care coverage. Stealing the private sector and making it illegal to have private health care will not deliver health care to the poor in the Eastern Cape. It will destroy health care for everyone. We've seen this over and over and over again. I am still waiting for my MRI. 5 months I have to wait for my MRI. Government health care. Unbelievable. Mathematical hooliganism. Well, I'll tell you what. That's what fascist leftist dictators do. When will the DA and the irrelevant parties do something about the informal settlements in Cape Town? I'm getting pretty sick of this. Well, Pablo Charlie, first off, not to attack you, but your position is very poorly informed. I, unlike most people, have actually been to the Cape Flats. I've actually walked through the Cape Flats, walked in the streets in the Cape Flats. And the stories about the Cape Flats are always completely false. Okay, first off, it's not all tin shacks. There's a lot of them, a lot of informal settlements. But I was in Kailicha, at the 5 polling stations. There are petrol stations. There are supermarkets. There are tuck shops. There are parking lots. There are schools, formal buildings. There are formal houses there. There's electricity there. There are satellite dishes there. There's also informal settlements, tin shacks, and things like that. But that's by people illegally occupying land. The Western Cape government and the national government have built tens of thousands of homes for people in the Cape Flats. The problem is that people keep coming. I talked the other day about the extortion racket, which is slowing down the development of several housing projects, and showed photographs of one of the housing projects in the Cape Flats. They are doing something about it, but the media is dishonest. And you can't do something about something like here, Americans. Well, Americans have a high infant mortality rate, mothers. Yes, of course. Because our numbers are distorted by 40 million criminal alien invaders who invaded our country and have dragged down our statistics. America's low in income. No wonder we're low in educational outcomes, because we have all these foreigners who can't speak English going to school. We have to get English as a second language instructors so they can graduate high school. A country full of immigrants is going to be a country that has challenges. So Pablo Charlie, the DA, is actually, I'm not defending the DA. I don't really care for them. They're nothing to me. They're a political party. But they are doing something about the Western Cape. Even the gas bag Alan Winde, which is a perfect name for the guy, Alan Winde, he's doing something about it. Mayor Jordan Hill Lewis, whom I've met, actually doing something about it. Colonel, I'm worried about the USA from what I see. Freedom-loving people around the world need a strong America. Well, we do, because let's just talk about low IQ. Last week, I talked on my program, my radio program, which, by the way, we broadcast on the original channel. So you can watch it after the fact. It's Common Sense Conservatives on the other channel. Hopefully I won't get in trouble when they're doing it, but I'm broadcasting it through StreamYards onto my @RealChris Wyatt channel every Wednesday, 7 to 9 p.m. I talked about this last week. Brazil. See, either charging, arresting, or convicting political opponents. Bolsonaro has to flee the country because Lulu is a fascist dictator. So that's Brazil. We see it in Argentina. That's been going on for over 2 decades. In South Africa, going after political opponents with false charges. In this case, it's in the media. It's not criminal charges. We see political opponents arrested in China. We see political opponents arrested in Algeria, taken off the ballot. We see the main political opposition arrested in Tunisia. These are what cowardly fascist states do. And we see in America the same behavior. In New York, in Georgia, prosecutors, rogue prosecutors, and we saw this. It's just another one of these reveal videos of this clown who's a federal ADA for the Southern District of New York admitting at a restaurant to people that the whole thing of Donald Trump is a joke. There's no crime. He committed no crime there. This is ridiculous. It's embarrassing. It's all political. So Georgia and New York with fake cases. We've got a woman who is stealing from the people, who is having sex with someone who's supposed to be working for the people, and she's paying him hundreds of thousands of dollars to stick his penis inside her while they fly around in junkets and vacations and have a false, bogus case against former President of the United States. They have no shame whatsoever. And the federal government, Jack Smith, the man who was smacked down for his illegal appointment, criminal violation, there's a crime right there, appointed by the Department of Justice illegally to investigate Trump on a trumped-up charge over bullshit. And when we find the FBI is actually running around and taking classified cheat document covers for the media, taking pictures, placing the document cover on top of a document that's not even classified multiple times all over to make it look like Donald Trump had thousands of classified documents. This is what's going on. We are a banana republic without the bananas. That's what we are. The whites are being murdered all over. The videos that just keep coming up on Twitter of whites in Europe and UK and the United States being assaulted, especially in the United States, beaten by thugs, crowds of black out of control. You see the video of a dormitory on a college campus? These black females just beating the crap out of each other? This behavior, this is what passes for universities today. We have police forces, university police, when I attend Ohio University. And the biggest thing they have to deal with, usually, was an occasional allegation of rape, date rape, or, property theft. That was it. Parking tickets. Now we have students who are out of control on campus. They think they're at spring break. So I'm with you, low IQ. The whole country is on edge right now, I suppose. They're not doing jack crap out the illegal immigrants. No, they're not. Soweto, I believe, has 2 million population. Almost all are brick built. Yep, exactly, Keith Aldous. I don't know if that's population, but yeah, Soweto is almost all formal settlement. Alexandria is almost all a formal settlement at this stage. So the government has done lots. The political parties have done lots to build. But first off, let's clarify something. It is not the responsibility of the government and taxpayer to build you an abode, to buy you an abode, to find you a place. That's your task. That's not government's task. That's not what government's designed for. Government is supposed to ensure a level playing field so that everybody gets an equal, fair chance to succeed. And the transgressors get punished equitably. Yeah, I'll use that term, equitable. They get punished justly. That's what government's for. We form governments. Polities are bodies of people politically who form governments to be responsible for our common defense, for mutually beneficial things in society. Not to fund Robert Mapplethorpe so he can make disgusting images that insult Christianity. Not to ban the use of prayer in school. Not to ban the Pledge of Allegiance in school. That's not the purpose of governments. It's not for government at the national level to decide on the issue of abortion under our federal system. It's not the role of government to run an education system at the national level. In this country, we have a federal system. We are responsible for education for our kids locally, not the federal government. Get your nose out of our business. You're always complaining, get your nose out of our bedrooms. Well, get your nose out of our business. Get out of our schools. Get out of our private organizations. The role of government is not to suppress private clubs and organizations. When people band together to form organizations for mutual benefit, like the Kiwanis, the Rotary Club, the VFW, the American Legion, it's not the state's business. The state has no right to come in and shut these places down unless they're committing criminal acts. Otherwise, piss off. Kamala's pissed they're going to mute her mic as she was planning on it. Exactly, Arctic. That's exactly right. And that's why Trump is like, okay, I wanted open mics, but I'm fine with it. I'll just go with what the rules were before, because he doesn't want her running her mouth off. Because she'll do the same thing she did to Joe Biden. She'll play the aggrieved black woman. She'll be Madia. She'll be Tyler Perry's Madia. She'll be the aggrieved, oppressed black woman. She's not even black. Oh, look at you interrupting me, a woman of color. Oh, this is what you've always done. You racists always oppress women of color. Stop it. Oh, evil Donald Trump. And that will be the debate, not what's your tax policy, what's your foreign policy, what's your immigration policy, how are you going to balance the federal budget, what are you going to do about out of control? That won't be the topic. It'll be about her being oppressed as a black woman. So it's fantastic that her microphone is going to be muted. Thank God for that. Someone said Ian Kama's woke. Ian Kama isn't woke. He's a conservative, but Ian Kama has a few ideas that are just bat crap crazy. And I respect Ian Kama, but his position on climate change, his position on a few things like that are just a little bit out of sync. What did Stephanie say? Government health care. Did government care the last couple of years? Nope. Please Google and show the audience a picture of Chief Justice in Brazil. I'm not going to describe it. I'll show you the picture of the Chief Justice. Brazil's. Yeah, let's get the judge up here. He looks like this is a creepy looking dude. Here he is. I'll put him up, France 24. Alejandra Moraes. This is the guy here. Look at him. He looks like a convicted criminal, doesn't he? Look at that guy. He's pretty creepy looking. Yep. Richard Kuhn says that they're wonderful people in the Cape Flats. The traditional folks in the flats have an issue with illegal immigrants and the costas. Well, the illegal immigrants and the domestic migration is what they have an issue. And costas, no issues with whites or blacks who legitimately buy houses. Yep. All right. What else you got here in the chat? Phil Craig will be awarded after 29 with the Nobel Prize for liberating the Cape. I don't think so. What is she besides being a Haley? Anyway, back to the news. Let's get through some of this news, folks. We've been doing this for an hour. We got more news to cover here. So, Helen Zilla distances herself from the Roman Cabinet hiring. Well, this is actually a pretty good piece by Zimasa Matewane, but I doubt she picked the title because the title is a little sensationalist. Helen Zilla is not distancing herself from it. She's simply stating the facts. So I'm defending Helen Zilla here. Federal Council Chair says controversial Chief of Staff is neither an employee nor a representative of the party. And that's correct. Roman Cabinet does not work for the DA, and he doesn't represent the DA. He's a government employee. And that's the part they keep missing. And they keep talking, the media, leftist media keeps saying, well, this is exactly what they complain about the ANC, cater hires. Not a cater hire. Not a cater. Now, you can make the argument of nepotism because they know each other. That's a different argument. But you can't say it's a cater hire because cater hire is hiring party loyalists, taking people in the party and deploying them, sending them out to places where they undermine governance. That's a cater hire. Roman Cabinet could be a nepotism hire. Could be. Yep. So, Zimasa Matewane has a few things to say. Matewane, that sounds Zimbabwean. Anyway, the DA federal chair Helen Zilla sought to distance herself, her party, from the controversial decision of party leader John Steenhuisen to appoint Roman Cabinet. Well, she's not distancing herself. She said that in her comments that the Roman Cabinet issue is different. He's not a DA employee or a DA public representative. The party, therefore, has no jurisdiction over his appointment and no disciplinary powers in respect to him. I can only comment on party matters, not government matters. I trust you will understand. Yep. And the government said the same thing. The president, spokesman for the presidency, said this is up to the ministers who they hire. Roman Cabinet is a state employee. He works for you, the taxpayer. Doesn't work for the DA. And that seems to be lost on the people that just want to get him. They want to get a scalp. All they want to do is they want to count coup. That's what we call it, counting coup. They want scalps. That's what they want. Hey, there's Charles Van Onselen. The Good Party is seeking an urgent debate on the teacher cuts in the Western Cape, which I think are just scare tactics by the Western Cape government to get more money for education, which they need. So the Good Party requested an urgent debate in the Western Cape legislature on the provincial government's decision to cut more than 2,400 teaching posts due to budget constraints. Yep, teachers' unions objected to the cuts for teachers. Well, you know what? Then the national government, who is responsible for education, needs to cough up more money and quit stealing. Well, the ANC's fact-finding mission discovers that there are secret agents at work. Secret agent, man. ANC fact-finding mission, internal squabbles, sleeper agents, governance flaws led to the Gauteng loss. No, incompetence, corruption, and theft led to the loss, dingbats. ANC has added internal squabbles and sleeper agents to its growing list of reasons it lost control of Gauteng in recent elections. Sleeper agents. Now the ANC is confronting sleeper agents in Gauteng. Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations to Mama Joy, who's become engaged to a white Frenchman. Mama Joy! After her nemesis Ronaldo Jose has been sidelined, Mama Joy is back in the newspaper articles. Here she is. I said yes. Ooh, look at that. Superfan Joy. Mama Joy Chauka. And that doesn't sound South African either. Chauka. And her fiance Nicholas Papa Joy Pitou. South African superfan Joy Mama Joy Chauke is engaged to her French boyfriend. Papa Joy asked something. I said yes. Watch this space. The couple was visiting Cape Town over the weekend to watch the Springboks game against the All Blacks. South African 18-12 victory proved not to be the only happy news. Love is beautiful. We seal it with a kiss. I mean, a ring. Mama Joy. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Dan Corder was busy on the radio this past couple of days complaining about the cost of tickets and saying it's unfair to South Africans that can't go to the game. Well, it's unfair to Springboks players who have no team to play for and no games because they're bankrupt. They need to raise money. But back to Dan Corder's comments. Mr. Condom on the head. Dan Corder complaining. But apparently Mama Joy can afford a ticket to go to the Springboks with her French boyfriend. So apparently some South Africans can afford, given the fact the stadium was full. He's complaining about the ticket prices. Mama Joy. Hello, my friend from Africa. Is it me you're looking for? The People's Daily launches a rousing video on Chinese-African relations. Oh, this propaganda is off the charts hilarious. The People's Daily, one of the largest newspaper publications in the world, has unveiled a rousing video. Of course, IOL would call it a rousing video. The video beautifully captures the evolving relationship between China and Africa, highlighting the deep sense of partnership and shared destiny between these two regions. Sure.
The spirit for the common good of Africa, China relations, financial cooperation.
Rousing background music, and I'll stop it there lest I risk a copyright strike. Thank God the Chinese communists and their propaganda are still going. Siklisi confirmed that he has left Racing 92. In fact, he'll be back for the Sharks. Springbok captain Siklisi has confirmed he's ended association with French club Racing 92 to rejoin the Sharks, ending months of speculation over his future at club level. He said he'd negotiate an exit after a single season in the French top 14, having struggled with injury and his form. We reached an agreement with the club. I'm grateful for the way they handled the situation. When I arrived in Paris, I didn't know what the future of my international career was, but when I started playing for the national team again, I realized my body has no rest. Well, again, so the French who criticized Siklisi saying he was fat and lazy, they were never called racist by the South African media or social commenters. However, when I accurately questioned his performance as captain of the British and Irish Lions series 2 years ago, I was roundly attacked by racist black South Africans accusing me of being racist and still doing it to this day. I get idiotic nonsense comments from morons who've never watched my content who claim that someone came in the comment and says, well, what you said about Siklisi. I didn't say anything about Siklisi that was worthy of anything except listening to. So shut up, sit down in the corner. Nobody's listening to your race hustling garbage. Siklisi will be back with the Sharks. Should have come back to the Stormers, but he's a traitor. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the end of a checkered career. This is it. You'll never see him play rugby again. Maybe rugby league, but not rugby. And I'm talking about, of course, Sibusiso Nkosi, once again caught for a second time with performance-enhancing drugs. Yep, 3-year doping ban for Bucks World Cup winning winger Sibusiso Nkosi. The 2019 World Cup winner has been banned for 3 years by World Rugby after testing positive for an anabolic steroid. Yep, he had a World Rugby test in May, and his sample was positive. He's been banned for 3 years, said a Cheetah spokesperson. Not the first, of course. Elton Yankees, who likes to bang the physio, apparently, according to news reports, was also banned for a substance. Both careers are now over, a shambles in tatters. What are they going to do with their lives? Who knows? That's it. He's done. He'll be in his 30s, and that's it. He won't be back. Well, despite the crackdown in Zimbabwe, the Zim gold currency is collapsing already just a few months into it because there's nothing backing it except a corrupt, thieving government. Despite the crackdown, Zimbabwe's gold-backed currency is crumbling just 4 months after its introduction. The 35-year-old security guard in Zimbabwe, Ezekiel Chiradza, was arrested on Monday for allegations that he insulted President Emerson Mnangagwa and undermined the Zimbabwean gold currency launched in April. The arrest came after filming a video he shared on WhatsApp accusing the president of mismanaging the economy. There's no respite in targeting citizens for perceived dissent, said Zimbabwean lawyers for human rights. So a gentleman put a video in a WhatsApp group, in a personal communication, criticizing a corrupt, thieving government's president and its failing currency. And for that, he was arrested. He was arrested. What crime did he commit? Insulting a fascist dictator? Bullshit. Unbelievable. 47 inmates reportedly escaped from a Liberian prison in West Africa. That's pretty scary. A maximum security prison in Marigiba County, a rural area east of Monrovia. Initial investigations suggest the inmates had managed to escape the weekend because of a breach in the prison security system. Ministry of Justice deeply concerned about this incident is taking all necessary measures to ensure the recapture of the escaped inmates. Well, that's not good. We don't know what they were in jail for. Zanzibar has taken an idiotic step which will undermine and crush its tourism industry. Once again, another country like Namibia doing dumbass things. Stupid, dumb decision. Zanzibar demands 800 Rand travel insurance fee no matter how good your insurance already is. Even if you have coverage, they don't care. This is simply a grift to rob tourists. Zanzibar has a new $44 mandatory insurance requirement for foreign visitors. That's about 800 Rand. It doesn't matter if you're just popping in for the weekend. You'll have to pay the full $44 for a 92-day stretch of insurance to cover. Wow. And that's provided not by Zurich Insurance, not by anyone you guys have ever heard of, but by the Zanzibar Insurance Corporation to get a QR code. I've been to Zanzibar. It's oppressively humid. It's backward. It's a bizarre combination of Arab imperialism and African subjugation. And it's full of spices and bugs. Zanzibar, you can have it. Well, here's the problem, folks. Government figures show that last year the top 5 nationalities that visited the island of Zanzibar were the United States with 85,000 visitors, France with 72,000, Germany at 58,000, the United Kingdom at 51,000, Italy at 51,000. So they're trying to fleece that money from these people. Tourism accounts for 27% of Zanzibar's gross domestic product and 80% of its foreign exchange earnings. 80%. So they're going to charge $44 to make you get insurance, which you'll never be able to collect on. I guarantee that. You'll never be able to collect on that insurance if something happens to you. You have to pay $44 to have it just to go to Zanzibar. Now, wealthy people still pay it, but other people are going to say, the hell with you. Screw you. That's ridiculous. 27% of the island's GDP. 80% of its hard currency earnings. And it's going to impose this fee. How stupid is that? How dumb are these people? My goodness. Wow. Cut off your nose to spite your face. That's what they do. Stupid people should wear signs. Listen, sorry. I didn't see you. I didn't see your sign. Here's your sign. Didn't see your sign. Fat mama racist. We're expecting one of those prisoners from the UK turning back up here, though he's more likely to go to South Africa through a dodgy passport. Oh, that's scary. Yep. It's one of the best countries with Rhodesia. It went to Somalia. What? No idea what you're talking about. Lobola going to be paid in French francs? That's a good question, Charles. Who's going to pay her Lobola? Yep. It's not like Mama Joy has spent any of her own money the past few years. Yeah, I'm sure she can't afford it because she's gotten a free ride for so long. The Laugh Project's feeling its terror. The gods must be crazy. What is Keith talking about? Mama Joy used the Superfans trip to hunt for a husband. Exactly. You are correct. That's what she did. Well, a petrol tanker explosion in Nigeria has been grisly, folks. 48 people killed, 50 cattle burned alive. Terrific. Head-on collision between a truck and a tanker in Nigeria has claimed the lives of 48 people and left at least 50 cattle dead. The tanker gas explosion took place in the Agi local government area in Niger State. In a statement by the government of the state of Niger, the petrol tanker explosion occurred 2 kilometers away from the Dendo community and claimed the lives of people, burnt cattle, and destroyed vehicles. My goodness, how did 48 people die from that? That's crazy. Well, Israel has expanded its campaign. Now it's fighting a war in Gaza. It's fighting a war in Lebanon. It's also now fighting a war in Syria. Not looking good. Israeli strikes on Syrian military sites kill 16, according to state media. At least 16 people have been killed in Israeli airstrikes on a number of military sites in central Syria. Sanaa cited that's the state news agency. A health official is saying that 36 people were wounded in the attacks in the vicinity of Masaf in Hama province. Wow. A UK-based monitoring group reported 25 people were killed and that the 5 targets include a scientific research center allegedly linked to chemical weapons. Israeli military said it would not comment on foreign media reports of the strikes, which Syria's foreign ministry condemned as blatant aggression and Iran's foreign ministry called a criminal attack. Yep. Well, I don't know what to say about that one. Turkey's president for life, the fascist dictator of a NATO republic, right in line with France and UK and now the US. Erdogan is targeting officers graduating from an academy for an Ataturk chant. Turkey's President Erdogan has targeted newly graduated lieutenants who drew their swords and chanted, "We are the soldiers of Mustafa Kemal Ataturk," during their oath ceremony on August 30th. To which he said, after waiting a week, "Exploiters, to whom are you drawing these swords? It's impossible for them to exist in our army." Wow, so he's going to kick them out of the army? In a new conflict between secularism and Islamism, Turkey's president for life, the fascist dictator Recep Tayyip Erdogan, targeted newly graduated lieutenants 8 days after the Mustafa Kemal Ataturk chanting at graduation. Wow. 8 days after the incident, he targeted them during an religious school's intervention. Wow. We are taking steps to dismiss them quickly. So there you go. You have no free speech in the Turkish military either. Chinese are lamenting the garbage time of history, a reference to basketball when the game is decided and people are just picking up bonus points and padding their stats. As the economy comes off their peak and growth model hits a dead end, as I've been predicting every year on this channel. And I've been correct. People in China are so discouraged about the economic outlook that many have taken to social media to call it garbage time of history, referring to the end of NBA games when the result is settled and the players go through the motions until time runs out. Use of the phrase earned rebukes from state-run media over the summer, but it tapped into a deepening gloom as it spread to Wall Street as fresh data pointed to worsening weakness in top economic drivers. Bank of America recently cut its 2024 growth forecast. Yep. China peaked at 18.3% of GDP before dipping back to 16.9% last year. Meanwhile, the U.S. has risen from 24 to 25% of global domestic product. So this country, with 5% of the world's population, generates 25% of the world's economic output. One time we had 2/3 of it, but that's because the rest of the world was destroyed by the Second World War. We weren't. Now we are steady, still at 25%. Well, I wrote to these people today. The Deutsche Welle, the state-run propaganda outlet from Germany, wrote an article today about Adolf Hitler. Yeah, those steaks were definitely overcooked. Students want to strip Adolf Hitler of honorary citizenship. Thousands of German towns and municipalities once made Hitler an honorary citizen, and many still have not distanced themselves from the dictator. But now students in Bad Honnef are taking action. A few months ago, during a history lesson at Seven Mountains High School in Bad Honnef, a 10th grader came up with the idea of making history themselves. By submitting a motion, the class wanted to ensure that the town of 25,000 inhabitants near Bonn officially renounced one of the honorary citizens, the Nazi dictator Adolf Hitler. Now, the girls, Katy, Lily, Ronja, Mia, and Selen, none of which are German names, 5 people speaking on behalf of the class wanted to make a clear statement against right-wing ideas together with their leader, Thomas Roth. Now, first off, you morons, National Socialism was not right-wing. Fascism is not right-wing. It's across the political spectrum. Stop lying. Stop denigrating people on the political right. Katy is the only one that's even remotely close to a German name. Lily's not a German name. Ronja is not a German name. Never heard it before. Mia is not a German name. And Selen is not a German name. These are obviously children named after idiot leftist parents who hate German and Germanness. That's why they name their kids with stupid names. I'll make the exception, of course, for Selen because she's not ethnic German, obviously a Turk. But yeah, idiots. Their initiative resulted in a petition is ultimately signed by more than 1,363 people, 5% of the residents, and therefore the number required for the city council to vote on the initiative. It was a huge success for people who gathered signatures and rang countless doorbells and educated the public. And educate the public, they indoctrinated the public in their lies. Look, if you want to take Adolf Hitler off the honorary citizenship roll, that's fine. That's your prerogative. But it's not right-wing. Stop the lies. I wrote to the Deutsche Welle to complain about their dishonesty in their press. Yep. Bad Honnef made him an honorary citizen on April 5th, 1933, a month after his party won the Reichstag elections. Yep. Yep. Mayor Otto Neuhoff visibly pleased with the people's commitment. We're proud of the people's. It's a great initiative. They've learned that change through participation is possible in politics. Well, lying is unnecessary. You want to remove Adolf Hitler, do it, but don't call him right-wing. He wasn't right-wing. That's just simply a lie. Well, a government shutdown is looming in America. Once again, surprise, surprise, not incompetent legislature we have cannot pass a budget and manage its own affairs. China's a sad country. Nobody cares about them. Yep. So once again, we have no budget, and we are going to shut down October unless they come up with a continuing resolution, which they'll do. Congress has very little time to avoid a government shutdown that's set to begin on October 1st, and they're nowhere near an agreement. After a 6-week summer vacation, lawmakers return to do their lazy work in the Capitol, facing a changed political landscape with a very familiar problem, figuring out how to avert a shutdown. They have just 3 weeks to do so. Funding for the government runs out at the end of the fiscal year on September 30th, and former President Trump is urging Republicans to force a shutdown unless certain demands are met. A shutdown would close federal agencies and national parks while limiting public services and furloughing millions of workers just weeks before an election. Yep, And they'll blame the Republicans for it, regardless of who's responsible. They'll blame the Republicans, and people believe it, and they'll vote for that idiot Cackles Harris. Well, Pennsylvania and Georgia are likely to be the deciding states, and the outcome with their electoral college votes, 30 electoral college votes, will be the deciding factor in this election, according to election analysts. There's Cackles and Donald Trump. The destiny of the White House may hang on a deadlocked fight between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris in Georgia and Pennsylvania. Two battleground states have been decisive in crowning the last two presidents. It's actually not true. The previous election, Georgia didn't matter. It was Pennsylvania that mattered in 2016, and it mattered in 2020. Georgia mattered in 2020. Harris's momentum in these fake polls has stalled and not declined. Okay? A new way forward. Really? The same old idiots. We're getting a new way forward? Nearly a month ago, Politico identified 5 key indicators of the election's trajectory beyond the Harris-Trump horse race. The race remains very tight. Trump has a 2-point lead in the New York Times Siena poll released on Sunday, nationally, leading her by 2 points. How it can even be close is ridiculous. Now, illiberal Kamala Harris joins the world's autocrats to clamp down on free speech. This is an op-ed. If I get around to it in a few minutes, I'm actually going to read this by David Harsanyi. David Harsanyi is an excellent op-ed. I'm going to get back to it in a few minutes and read it. But the incoming CEO for Starbucks, a company that I own shares in, interest of full disclosure, I bought them for a couple bucks a share, and they did well. Brian Nickel takes over today amid turbulent times for the coffee giant. Things are really bleak. Yeah, they are bleak because you morons charge $7 for your shitty coffee. Chief Executive Brian Nickel is set to partake in a ceremony of first sip of coffee today as he reports for his first day of work for Starbucks employees. It's another chance to digest. Another change. The coffee chain's board of directors, investors, and longtime leader Howard Schultz have embraced Nickel since his hiring last month, praising the former Chipotle Mexican grill CEO as the best possible choice to turn around Starbucks operations and restore its brand after turbulent years. But Chipotle sucks now too. During his term, they switched to these non-GMO tortillas, and they're garbage. They, instead of stuffing the burritos with stuff so big that it bursts through it, now there's so much of the tortilla shell hanging there because there's nothing inside, and their prices have nearly doubled. Chipotle is a shit restaurant. It's gone down the hill rapidly after a rapid ascent. It's crap. I ate there recently, and it was disgusting, and it was a ripoff, to say the least. So I don't know what he did great at Chipotle, but if he does the same thing at Starbucks, we're screwed. They need to cut in half the prices of all their coffee products instantaneously. They need to go back to providing something more than the shitty service they've been providing and the arrogance and laziness that they provided. So, yeah, Starbucks has stopped being a bargain, and it's always been expensive, but it's just become outrageous. He's going to have a town hall this week to meet with baristas and employees and start assessing the company's challenges. How about you have a town hall to meet with customers, longtime customers, and shareholders? You can have one of the employees, that's fine, but you need to meet with customers and shareholders to find out why we don't buy your shitty coffee products anymore. Yep. Well, Chinese spies hanging out in the New York government. I reported this previously. Why did it take so long? Well, apparently the FBI identified her as a Chinese spy in 2020 and did nothing, took no action. Too busy trying to implicate Donald Trump in non-existent crimes in the Russia hoax. That's what they're doing. And now with a fake classified document scandal, an alleged Chinese agent went undetected in New York State government for years. Why did it take so long for authorities to act? Because they're probably complicit in it. When Linda's son visited Beijing in the winter of 2018, according to federal prosecutors, a Chinese businessman based in the U.S. made travel arrangements for her and reserved a presidential suite once saved for Michelle Obama. A year later, on a second trip, the son exchanged correspondence with the same businessman and discussed her possible attendance to a military parade, ultimately attending a reception to celebrate the 70th anniversary of the People's Republic of China. Wow. Then in 2020, the FBI summoned her for an interview. A 41-year-old naturalized American citizen born in China had been working for the state of New York for years. Her roles included Deputy Chief of Staff for Kathy Hochul, and aide Governor Kathy Hochul, and aide to administration predecessor Governor Andrew Cuomo since 2012. Since her firing in 2023 and a host of charges filed against her, and her husband's indictment have been unsealed this month. So this Chinese spy was operating for decades in the New York government with Democrats, of course, and they did nothing about it. Nothing about it. The FBI interviewed her 4 years ago. She's continued probably to spy on China in the past 4 years and undermine our governance and threaten the lives of Americans. But hey, the FBI can't be bothered. They have too much time, too much energy devoted to the fake Russia hoax, the collusion narrative that was prompted by the fake Steele dossier, bought and paid for by Hillary Clinton's corrupt campaign in 2016, and spread to the FBI by the shameful John McCain. Well, Central Kentucky children are told to stay home from school as the I-75 shooter remains at large. They haven't found this guy. This happened a few days ago, and they still can't find him. Schools across a swath of Central Kentucky have canceled classes today, and residents have been urged to remain on high alert as the deep woods search for a man suspected of opening fire along the I-75 enters its third day. Joseph Couch, 32, has evaded capture since Saturday when authorities say he fired an AR-15 from a cliff ledge on the side of the interstate 9 miles north of London, Kentucky, striking 12 cars and wounding 5 people. The motive is unknown. The attack appeared to be a random act. Search efforts led by the Kentucky State Police were paused overnight and was set to resume at 8 a.m. this morning. He could still be armed and hiding anywhere in the vast, densely wooded area near where his ammunition and car were found. Wow. Search scours a jungle-like forest. This is where traffic was halted after the shooting. Search teams face a daunting undertaking as they trudge through the vast, secluded forest, a task the state police spokesman compared to trudging through a jungle. More than 150 federal, state, and local personnel were involved in the investigation and search for Couch. Wow. What the hell? What the hell? And there you have the news, folks, for today. Thank you all for being here. Do appreciate it. Be sure to hit the like button. We hit 100 likes. That's pretty cool. Charles is off for his supper. The Chi-Coms and Democrats are natural bedmates, as are the ANC, the Chi-Coms, the Labor Party, the Chi-Coms, Macron, all of them. Brazil, they're all natural traveling partners. All right, let me make it public. You guys rock, says Garrett King. Algeria's current president is reelected, 94.7% of the vote. Yeah, well, his main opponent was put in prison, not a surprise, and removed from the ballot. Erdogan wants urgent meeting Islamic leaders on Israel. He should be quiet. He should be quiet. He did buy ISIS oil. What else? The French love their chocolate. Ooh, gotta wonder what the attraction was. Mama Joy and her beauty. I don't know what Mama Joy. It's probably just a scam. Now that Charles is having curry, that's what I want. I want a curry. I want a good curry. I might get a pizza. I haven't had a pizza in donkey years. See if they got any at Papa John's. I got to go out and make a run here shortly. Pick up a few things. So maybe I'll find something there. We'll see. Anyway, folks, I hope you're all doing very well, and I do appreciate everybody being here. Those who follow my program, I am very grateful. I say this over and over again, and I do try to make myself available as much as possible. I've done so here in America. I had people from Ohio who are South Africans who found out about my broadcast during the Rugby World Cup. They came here. That was when YouTube promoted my content until the hate wanker falsely reported and lied about me. Person slandered me. Person deserves to be facing criminal charges. But anyway, those people came from Ohio, South Africans who live in Ohio now. We had a fantastic time. Went to a Hershey Bears game in their championship season. That was awesome. Thank you for that. Then we went to, I took them to Gettysburg National Park and gave them a tour of the battlefield. That was incredible. So I've done that here. I've gone to the UK. I've met with people in the UK. Lots of viewers in the UK got together. Not really meet and greets, but individual one-offs because people live so far apart. I met with Hendo there. I've met with Fiona there. I met with other South Africans there down in Twickenham, and it's really awesome. And of course, in South Africa, everywhere I go in South Africa, I do meet and greets, and people. Sometimes people come, sometimes they don't. Almost always there's people there. I only think once or twice people haven't shown up. But I mean, I did 16 meet and greets in my first 30 days. Then I did probably 12, then 15, and 10. Yeah, I've probably done about 50 or 60 meet and greets in South Africa, plus public appearances. I've spoken at the Drakensdale Choir School. Yeah, so anyway. Yep, so there you have it. Mutton and curry. Man, mutton. I don't eat sheep, man. Don't mess with sheep. Sheep to me are nothing but trouble. They're nothing but trouble. If Al gets things done, okay. With 101 was this bad for us. What is that 101? I don't understand. Good food can travel without the cook. Okay. Erica says, merci. You're very welcome. 109 likes. Wow, that jumped up. It's 101 a moment ago. Cool beans. Hillary Clinton. That's good. Hillary Clinton. Gotta go. Okay, what else? You should have seen the boys after Vaspi. It was indescribable. Nothing compares. Spigan says, had to rush out for last minute shopping, but got most of the new doings and screwings of the politicians. All right. Time is illusion. You are here right now. Okay. Lamb patla is a great curry. Flesh, never had it. I can eat a vindaloo. That's a completely British invention. I can eat a vindaloo, but my favorite is chicken madras, man. Where is Fiona? John, Fiona has not been well. She's had all kinds of medical problems. I was in touch with Fiona the other day, which reminds me I need to reach out to someone else here. Yep, very quickly there. Yeah, in fact, let me see. Gosh bless it. Senior moment here. Looking for something very quickly here. I'll look in my address book. John Tungay, that's him. Okay, John Tungay, I got to reach out to him. She's senior moments here, coming fast and furious. Yep, see how John Tungay's doing. Check in on him. I checked on Fiona the other day. I don't think a lot of people know this, but I do reach out to people I've met at meet and greets, people that I've had on as guests before. Authentic Max, I wrote to him about 6 months ago. He was on the program in 2020, just to check in and see how he's doing. So I do follow up with people. If I had to choose one food that I could never eat again, it would be pizza, hands down. Oh, Alan, I love pizza. Not as much as I love Indian, but I love pizza. Yeah, Fiona's not been well, John, but she's hanging in there. So, oh, she was in the Pepper Echoes chat. Okay. Paulie says it's very true. You do reach out. I try. Look, I mean, folks, there's two things you have that are just non-negotiable, that are precious: your time and your liberty and your freedom. If you sacrifice your time, your personal time, to meet with someone, to talk to them, to listen to them, to chat with them, even just to have a wine session about something else, if you take your time to do that, which is sacrificing your liberty to do something else or to do nothing, and it's also sacrificing your time, which is invaluable. We only have so much time on this planet. Every moment that you share with someone else, there's a cost to it. It's a moment you won't be able to do something else. Think of all the times I've met with my viewers, all the time I spend with them, all the time. I go out of my way, driving so far, flying places, going out of my way. My next trip to South Africa, if it's possible, is going to include Uppington and possibly Namibia. I may be flying to Namibia now that FlySaf Air will have a flight back there. So I may be doing that. So anyway, I try. Don't always succeed, but I try. Yep, that is so profound. Yep, that is very profound. Think about it. Think about that, folks. The time you spend with me is time you could have been doing something else. I am eternally grateful for that. I'm eternally grateful for... Oh, gosh, I'm serious. Oh, my gosh. Oh, I'm trying to remember people right now. I'm just having a hard time today focusing. Who was our buddy there in Durban? In the garage. In the garage. It's always early on. He passed away. Got the Rona. Yeah, God bless it. Drawing blanks here today. But very grateful for everybody. Those who, I mean, we had the Right Reverend Rawhide had a stroke and was in the hospital watching our broadcast. Gotta love that. The Brew, thank you, Hendo. God bless it. The Brew. Remember the Brew, guys? Passed away back in 2020. Yep. We had Dion also. We lost him. He covered the elections for me in 2021. He passed away. He was on the program. He was watching the program. Dion Gerber. That's what I'm talking about. Dion. Yep. Thank you, Hendo. Dion Gerber. Yep. These are, and we don't know who else has come and gone we've lost. Yep. Dion Gerber and the Brew. Others. Erica's had a couple of strokes. She's still with us. She's still hanging in there. Fiona's had all kinds of health problems. She's still in there. The one thing you will get on my program is a fair treatment. You don't have to agree with me. You can disagree with me, but you will get treated fairly. Can't say that everywhere. Certainly can't say it here, though. Anyway, Chris, don't say that. And not just that, we had Frank Corp. We haven't seen Frank Corp for months now. His phone number is still active. I sent a message when I was in South Africa. I didn't get a response, but we had Frank Corp. Remember Frank Corp? Frank Corp is a wonderful human being who did fantastic stuff to support the channel. Lovely man. Gave me that wonderful book on South African railroads, Frank Corp. Chris, I'm sorry to hear that you're very ill. I'm very sorry to hear that. I don't wish anybody to have poor. And Smee said a major heart attack last year. There you go. Forgot about that. Sorry, Smee. Somebody's ringing my doorbell here. Give me just a moment. I'll be right back. Amazon. Amazon delivered. I was expecting a package today, but I wasn't expecting it now. Some Amazon. It was a doorbell, Hakan. And it's Amazon. I don't think I have anything sharp here to open it with. Let me see. Quarter worked. What is it? Better make it. Yeah, it is addressed to me. I make sure it's my mail first, not someone else's mail. They sometimes drop it in the wrong place and try to open somebody else's box. Okay, cool beans. Orphan Black. Season 5. And some fresh linen. I had to order some new bed sheets. Check that out. So, yeah, I ordered some new bed sheets. And that's a bed set. Yep. Made in green. What the hell that means. But some linen, fresh linen, and Orphan 5 Season Black. Orphan Black Season 5. Yep. Excuse me. So that was an Amazon delivery. They don't usually ring the doorbell. I usually just leave it there and go. It was the doorbell. Yep. Yeah, you really see how things are like. What I want to say is I picked this up. This is a fascinating story. It's going to take me a while to get through this, so this won't be a video I do anytime soon. But at the beginning of the 20th century, a German military officer resigned from the military and then had a custom-made custom-made automobile manufacturer with an overly high clearance level, custom-made and shipped to Africa to travel from East Africa, German East Africa, all the way over to Namibia. And he was the first person to do that. It was an incredible journey, and this is his book. And it's Paul Greitz is his name, Im Auto quer durch Afrika. This is a reprint, the original book, the original cover, as he traveled across Africa. You can see the headlights on his automobile there looking at a lion. Pretty cool. Yeah, maybe it's hemp fibers. Yeah, I love Orphan Black too. And the new one I like, but not as much because it's kind of woke. Yep. Oh, Erica got delivery today too. So, yeah, well, it's a Blu-ray, but yes, adding to my collection. Excuse me. So, yeah, so this book I'm looking forward to reading. It's a reprint of the original. Pretty cool stuff. So, yeah, here he is wading through the water. Probably hard to see in that photograph, but here he is wading through the water, crossing a river without the car. You see him right there. So, anyway, but I intend to cover this. Need to take the sticker off. There's a sticker on here that they put on it, which is not really helping matters. I'm trying to read the back of the book here, and I can't because this damn sticker's here. So give me a second. I'm trying to remove it. Can't get a good feel for it. There it goes. Finally. All right, finally got it off. Okay, cool. All right, got it off. Okay, so let me see this. Noch heute ist es nicht alltäglich, dass südliche Afrika von Dar es Salaam in Tansania nach Swakopmund in Namibia mit dem Auto zu durchqueren. So even today, it's not common in southern Africa to go from Dar es Salaam in Tanzania to Swakopmund, Namibia with a car to cross. Wie viel abenteuerlicher, ja fast undenkbar war ein solches Unterfangen im Jahr 1907. So, and such an adventure was even unthinkable in the year 1907, als die Automobiltechnik noch in den Kinderschuhen stecken und von Straßen im heutigen Sinne keine Rede sein könnte. So the state of technology of automobiles still in its kindergarten stage. It was still cars were still becoming something real. Der 32-jährige Paul Greitz wagte damals diese sensationelle Reise. The 32-year-old Paul Greitz undertook this sensational journey. In 1910 wurde sein Bericht erstmals veröffentlicht, der sich heute noch genauso spannend liest wie einst. In 1910, his report, his book on this appeared, and it still today has fascination. Anyway, jahrzehntelang vergiftet erinnert diese. Anyway, so yeah, so he died in 1968. He was 93 years old. 1968. So Paul Greitz, former German military officer, wrote this book. It was an incredible thing. Yeah, automobile manufacturing is still in its infancy. That's what I was trying to say. It says kindergarten, but infancy is the right term in English. That's the right phrase. Flushing got an Amazon delivery today. There you go. Cool beans. There's a lot of Twitter videos of Muslims attacking people. It's happening. Oh, yeah. No, Freelance Kate. There are a lot of that. A lot of videos of black thugs attacking Americans, white girls being kicked in the head, assaulted, white boys being attacked in shopping centers and malls all over America. The violence against Christians and whites is epic in countries of their origin as a consequence of lawlessness being tolerated by authorities with their nonsensical position on, not persecuting or not prosecuting criminals because they happen to be people of color. It's a real problem. Is that a Blu-ray disc with your series? Yeah, it is a Blu-ray disc. I'm going to put it somewhere down there. Orphan Black. Yep. I have 1 and 2, season 1 and 2 in Blu-ray. Now I have season 5 in Blu-ray. I don't have season 3 and 4, but I got that for like $10. It's normally like $40. I got it for $10. That's why I bought it. Vehicle manufacturing was still in its infancy. Yep. That is a trip. Dar es Salaam. Yeah. Can you imagine, Richard? Because I mean, at this time there are no roads. There's just trails, tracks, tire punctures, mechanical breakdowns. You know, it took them a long time to complete it. Yep. In 1907, yep, the Germans put men on the moon. I don't think they put men on the moon. They would have eventually, but they didn't. Anyway, there you have it, folks. So, all right, we're going to wrap it up here. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah. What is this? PS5? No, PlayStation, no. Made in greed. Maybe it's hemp. Okay. All right, cool beans, everybody. Thanks a lot. You're very welcome, War Smith and everyone else. My pleasure. Thanks for being here. Have a good day. I've got to pay my rubbish bill due on 30 September, but I pay it today, so I want to forget about it. I can't pay it online. So there you go. All right, cool beans. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for being here. We'll catch you tomorrow unless some news breaks. Cheers, and thanks for being with us. And the likes. We really appreciate that, too. Cheers.